The FIFA World Cup is live on Sky Sport.
Oh, what a goal!
See every game of football's ultimate showcase.
Glorious!
You need to subscribe to Sky Starter and Sky Sport to watch this premium content. For details, see sky.co.nz.
Welcome to Football FIFA with Jason Pine.
I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again.
Powered by News Talk ZB and Sky Sport, the home of the FIFA World Cup. All 64 matches live.
Welcome into Football Fever, your daily World Cup podcast in association with Sky Sport. Jason Pine and David Choate breaking down today's two quarterfinals as our semi-final lineup is confirmed. We have just, in the last few minutes, finished watching England v France, an action-packed, incident-filled quarterfinal with France winning it 2-1. Initial thoughts just a few minutes after the final whistle, Choate?
Oh, a little bit flat for the English because they huffed and puffed and they had their opportunities. That will be the story of the day, will be the penalty miss, I think, will be the story of the day because there was nothing between these two sides. But as the French say, le foot rentre à la maison, which I think translates to football's coming home, but it's coming to a French home perhaps. But look, fantastic viewing, compulsive watching. But England, they'll go home. They'll be disappointed, I think.
Yeah, it was even, wasn't it? It was even, and even when France were ahead the first time, and we'll get to the goals in a minute, I thought England were on the front foot. They were the equal of France. They certainly were not outplayed in the fashion that I think a lot of people thought they might have been with the weaponry that France have. Yeah,
they worked hard, didn't they? And they were the more industrious of the two sides, I thought. Clearly, Giroud is that kind of player. I think we were talking about him not touching the ball or touched the ball 7 or 8 times and hardly been seen, but that's Olivier Giroud. The whole match had a bit of a Premier League feel about it, very familiar faces to each other, and then a very North London feel, the Spurs connection with penalty taker and goalkeeper, and in the end, 2 penalties, 1 too many for Harry.
Third World Cup meeting between these two. The first, though, in a knockout match. France had lost just 1 of their last 8 meetings with England across all competitions, and they went ahead after 17 minutes on Sky Sport.
Tchouaméni able to get a shot away, and it's a glorious goal!
Tchouaméni with that goal. I mean, he's hit it well, hasn't he? That's about the only place he can put that for that to be a goal.
Yeah, reasonable strike, wasn't it, from 22 yards? That's what you want to do in a knockout match of a World Cup. Will Pickford be a bit disturbed? Possibly. Listen to Schmeichel in the break, and as a pretty good keeper in his day, Peter Schmeichel, he thought maybe being a yard further forward would close the angle down a bit because you've hit it from 22 yards. You've got a long time to see it. So he would be disappointed perhaps with Pickford's positioning, not necessarily the save. He got very close to putting a hand on it, but take nothing away from the goal and Tchouaméni's strike.
Yeah, wonderful goal. 1-0 to France at half-time. Now, England had never won a World Cup match that they had been losing at half-time, and France had won 24 of their 25 World Cup matches when they'd been ahead at half-time. But early in the second half, the excellent Bukayo Saka won a penalty, and the captain stepped up on Sky Sport.
Kane keeps his head, and in the white heat of a World Cup quarter-final, a landmark for Harry Kane in the white shirt of England.
A landmark indeed, and that landmark is that Harry Kane became England's joint top men's goal scorer with Wayne Rooney on 53 goals in far fewer matches. I thought Saka was excellent. He just always looked like setting something up.
Yeah, as the temperature of the match cools on me a bit, Piney, I wonder about how many chances they created, really. Penalty. The header grazed the outside of the post, I think, from Maguire. Sort of half sights of goal.
There was the Bellingham one that Giroud's tipped over.
Yep.
Sorry, not Giroud. He's at the other end. Lloris has tipped over.
Yep, volley.
Yeah, I think it's going in, but he saved that.
So yeah, no, they were industrious and they looked the more lively, the sort of the harder working of the two sides. Jordan Henderson ran around like an absolute lunatic, as we said. Gave it everything. So they weren't short on effort, and they're not short on ability, but perhaps they were short on clear-cut chances.
Yeah, and Giroud, we just talked about, Olivier Giroud, we'd hardly seen him really, but then he popped up in about the 79th minute on Sky Sport.
Griezmann's ball, Giroud makes no mistake this time, and France's all-time top goal scorer puts them within sight of the semi-finals again.
He's a guy we've talked about a bit on these podcasts. Wouldn't be there if Benzema was fit, but he just gets all kind of goals, and he's got the winner again.
Yeah, near post, almost bundles it over with the header. I mean, it's a head. I think the final touch is actually off Harry Maguire's sort of shoulder, which sort of has it fly past the keeper, probably going in anyway. But he's in the right place at the right time with a standard sort of headed goal, Giroud style. He's capable of all sorts of goals, and he would have scored tens, if not hundreds, like that. He is he's not a bad backup, is he?
No, he's a good guy to have in your team, and he'll march on. England, though, the drama wasn't over. Were awarded a second penalty via VAR, which was absolutely a penalty. What was the defender? Was it Hernandez? What's he doing in there? If you haven't seen this, he's basically just barged into the England attacker with the ball nowhere near in the penalty area, and the referee's gone to VAR and taken about 3 seconds to say, yeah, that's a penalty.
Yeah, he's flown into the back of Mason Mount, who's charging into the box, who's going to get nowhere near the ball. The ball's flying well over his head. He only had eyes for Mason Mount. I think that was his problem. He just zeroed in on him and landed sort of shoulder into back. Mason Mount went to ground, and not overly dramatically, he just went to ground. Go and have a look at that on replay, and you can only give a penalty. At the time, I thought, what's happened there? Because the ball was well away from both players. But, yeah, penalty given. Gave Harry Kane the chance to step up again. And
I said to you, didn't I, as we were watching this game together, I said I would trust Harry Kane with my life in a penalty situation. Well, I wouldn't be talking to you if that had come to fruition, because somehow he's blazed it over. He's actually missed it by a wee distance, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's very un-Kane-like. They showed us sort of the where he puts his penalties, always sort of going right. Keeper's right would be your favourite pick. I thought maybe down the middle, which is I think what he went for, but boy did he go high. I mean, it's missed by, I'm going to say, half a yard, and it's still rising.
Yeah,
he's just really got underneath it. And has the moment got to him? You'd have to think so.
Maybe it has. The final whistle blew. France 2, England 1. France through, England gone.
Football fever thanks to Sky Sport, the home of the FIFA World Cup. All 64 matches live.
To the early quarterfinal this morning, Portugal 0, Morocco 1 on Sky Sport.
The Atlas Lions now just one more prowling step from the World Cup final itself.
Yeah, what a story. Morocco, the first African team to qualify for the semi-finals at a Football World Cup, beating Portugal. Look, this is the story of the World Cup, isn't it? Morocco through to the Final Four.
Well, they're the biggest upset at the World Cup. As you said, coming in, no one was picking Morocco to be here at this stage of the tournament. What have they conceded? 1 goal?
And an own goal at that, in 8 hours of football, and even in the penalty shootout, they haven't conceded any.
Yeah, no,
incredible.
They have lived off scraps in most games. They have won a million hearts because they play with such heart. They're down on injuries, suspensions. They're sort of dragging their team up. They must be running on fumes. There'll be very little left in the tank for them. I think France will be pleased they're playing a Moroccan side that's had to work so hard to get where they've got to. But what a fabulous story. What do they call the Lions of the Atlas or something like that? Yeah, the Atlas Mountains. Rock the Casbah, grab the Marrakesh Express. Any reference to Morocco at the moment is really quite relevant. It's fantastic.
They're actually a good side. They don't just lump it. They do pass it out from the back. Defensively disciplined, obviously. They very rarely concede. Sofian Amrabat, this defensive midfielder with less hair than you and I, has just been superb again. The goal came just before half-time on Sky Sport.
In the series, the Moroccan miracle is still on.
And so it proved to be. Third World Cup goal for En-Nesyri. More World Cup goals for Morocco than any other player. Diogo Costa, the Portuguese keeper, has come for this and not got it. He won't look back on that fondly.
Yeah, check the replay out. It's a game of angles, sort of trigonometry. You've got to come at an angle. He's got them all wrong. He's coming about a yard the wrong side of the striker who's coming in, who, by the way, gets up well, but he's left with an empty net. He only has to connect in the end. So it's a howler of sorts, but don't take anything away from the Moroccans. They scored their goal. They got their noses in front. and they kept them in front.
Yeah, and the crowd helped them out. Again, sensational. The Moroccan crowd. Cristiano Ronaldo did come on for his 196th international appearance. That equals the men's all-time appearance record. But, again, he failed to score. 8 knockout stage appearances at the World Cup. 570 minutes. Hasn't scored a goal despite taking 27 shots in the process. How old's he now, Ronaldo? 37? He won't be around for another one, will he?
I wouldn't have thought so. He's become a sort of a much a polarising figure at this World Cup, and again he was quick down the tunnel and full of tears. He's probably behaved like a bit of a goose, to be fair, at this World Cup and going into the World Cup. He's probably not in a good headspace. His legacy shouldn't be tarnished by that, though. He is a world-class player, greatest of all time, arguably, but certainly Portugal's greatest, I would have thought.
Yeah, they had a couple of chances at the end. Portugal, 73% possession across the game. Superb save by Bono, the wonderfully named Moroccan goalkeeper from João Felix. Pepe had a chance right at the end that he headed wide. Morocco even survived a late red card. For the last 10 minutes or so, they were playing with 10 men. They certainly would not have survived extra time. You just wonder when the Marrakesh Express is going to stop. Surely it'll stop in the semis against France.
Yeah, well, don't count on it, Piney. That's been the story of this World Cup. I saw a lovely little headline, I think, coming out of the UK with a picture of Bono, and the headline was, "It's a beautiful day," referencing the U2 80s track that you know I'm so fond of, and another one that said "the sweetest thing." So it would be the sweetest thing if Morocco could go one more. Fairy tale stuff. You've just got to think. I mean, they've got to be running out of legs. They've got to be running out of luck. Because there's always a bit of luck you ride when you're a side that lives without the ball for as long as they do. Can they get up again? Big ask. I'll stay with the French and say it's the French will be the happiest about the result, not only because they've got themselves through, but they're going to fight against a Moroccan side who probably come in as rank outsiders.
So our semi-finals are locked in. Wednesday morning, 8 a.m. Sky Sport, Croatia v Argentina. Thursday morning, 8 a.m. Morocco v France. One of those 4 teams is going to win the World Cup. I think we'll do a semi-final preview for you on Tuesday. But in the meantime, Chody, we walk away as England walk away.
Sad but true, Piney. Sad but true.
The FIFA World Cup is live on Sky Sport.
Oh, what a goal!
See every game of football's ultimate showcase.
Glorious!
You need to subscribe to Sky Starter and Sky Sport to watch this premium content. For details, see sky.co.nz.